I had been married for 23 years when my husband suddenly asked for a divorce, saying,
"Set me free."
I found out he had married me reluctantly for my honor and stayed married for the same reason. I was shocked by his sudden demand. Seeing my reaction, he made crazy demands as conditions for not divorcing, trying to completely control me. I snapped at him for completely disrespecting me. What will be the outcome for us? When my husband told me,
"Set me free,"
I granted his wish and divorced him. Now, at 60 years old, I've ended up having what's known as a senior divorce in society. I married relatively late, at the age of 37, with my husband Bill. Well, still, he's been my husband for 23 years. So honestly, even if the love had faded, I had affection for him and thought of us as family, cherishing that bond. But over these 23 years, my husband denied everything. In fact, he denied me as a person altogether. After enduring all that, I couldn't take it anymore. At 50, you found your groove. At 60, you know when to listen. I couldn't manage such graceful adult responses. I wonder if there are many young, vibrant people like that around. I wonder if anyone would listen to someone like me telling my story. I wonder if people of all ages are watching. So let me tell you my story as a reference for your life. I've been working as a teacher since I graduated from college, and that job has already kept me very busy. There's no talk those days about overworking teachers like there is now. When I was young, it was all about gaining experience through hard work. Raise your hand and do the work willingly. Something like that? Well, it's a bit exaggerated. But that's how my days were filled with work. So before I knew it, I was in my late 30s. I was 37 years old. Of course, those around me were already married with children. Many of them have happy families. I realized I was falling behind and panicked, so I decided to start looking for a partner to get married. But I was so uptight about it. I thought matchmaking parties were gatherings of shallow people, and I believed that anyone who approached me in town was just doing it as a business. So I was suspicious and didn't make any progress at all. Then the principal of the school where I worked at the time came to my rescue. The principal arranged for me to be introduced to someone. It was what you might call a blind date. If it's a blind date, I'll do it. I immediately put my utmost trust in it. I eagerly jumped into that conversation. That date turned out to be my husband. Yes. After all, I'm a teacher and I need to set a good example for the children. That's what I thought, so I wanted to avoid getting caught up with strange men and rumors. I absolutely wanted to avoid such situations. That's why the fact that he was a nephew of someone trustworthy was a big plus. It seemed unlikely that I would be deceived. Moreover, although my husband was 5 years younger than me, he somehow seemed very reliable, and he was kind to me, who was close to 40 at the time. I really wanted to marry this person. When I expressed my desire to move forward with marriage talks, things progressed smoothly from there, and within a year from our first meeting, we were married. We received blessings from many people, though the students teased us. I was incredibly happy at that time. I also thought it was a wonderful fate that the trustworthy principal became my officiant. Even after marriage, since I continued my career as a teacher, my husband and I often had our differences. But I had complete trust in my husband. He was my husband and my absolute ally. He was someone who created opportunities for us to live together, no matter what happened. That's why I felt at ease in my heart and was happy. Looking back now, I think I was too serious, or maybe I had too many dreams about marriage. I thought my husband shared the same feelings as me, but our thoughts were completely different. Well, my husband and I have been married for 23 years. Even without children, unexpected events like my husband being laid off, or when my parents aged and passed away. We've overcome them all together. My husband was generally quiet and gentle, so he never fought with my impatient self. We were a good couple, at least in my mind. But last year, my husband's uncle, who was my former boss, the retired principal who introduced us, also passed away, and as soon as I celebrated my 60th birthday this year, my husband's attitude started changing rapidly. Even when my husband began to change, we were still an inseparable team. Because I believed in him so earnestly, I initially worried about the changes in him. Speaking of how he changed, well, first of all, he completely stopped doing any household chores. Until now, we both worked, so household chores were divided. Or rather, the one who could do it would do it, and then the other would help. I come home and rush to cook, do the laundry, and take out the trash. But my husband no longer helps out like he used to. Of course, I used to ask him, "Could you lend me a hand? Could you take out the trash for me?" But he just gives me vague responses. He doesn't even manage to take out the trash as requested or do the shopping I asked for after work. Moreover, even when I talked to him, he started becoming absent-minded and wouldn't respond at all. At home, he started lying down on the sofa all the time just staring at his phone or the TV. Because he became so inactive and indifferent and wouldn't respond to my questions, I was really worried at first. I wondered if it was the shock of his uncle's passing. Maybe he was developing dementia a bit early? Or perhaps something was wrong with his health. I was really worried and did a lot of research, and I even suggested to my husband that we go to the hospital. But he wouldn't listen to me at all and just continued to do less and less. What should I do about this? As I was pondering, my husband took action one day. It was about a year after his uncle passed away. A few months after I turned 60, at the beginning of March. On a weekend, while lounging at home, my husband suddenly spoke.
Hey, I feel like drinking beer. Go buy some right now. I mean, right now.
And he ordered me like that. And as I stood there dumbfounded,
I'm talking to you. Yes, you. What's that? Have you lost your hearing, old woman?
Then he continued with what sounded like abusive language. It was like a delinquent challenging a teacher. I was used to hearing unpleasant words from students, but I was truly shocked to hear them from my husband. But up until now, he hadn't always obeyed me, but he had prioritized my opinions in everything. And as you might imagine, his change like this was largely due to his uncle. But I wasn't shocked or anything like that. It's like my husband has been liberated from something. When he ordered me to go and buy beer, I responded with, "Can't you just go buy it yourself? I'm cleaning right now and I have to make dinner too." "Oh, then will you help with the cleaning? Let's go shopping together after cleaning." When I suggested this, my husband clicked his tongue and said,
Huh? I'm telling you to go buy beer. Who do you think you are to tell me to go buy it myself? Listen, I'm the husband who married you, okay? It's natural for you to serve me.
He said these things. I was confused about what had started. But then my husband continued.
What's with that look? Are you dissatisfied with me? Do you have a complaint against me? You do, don't you? But too bad my uncle isn't around anymore. There's no more uncle to report my behavior to. Too bad, huh? Well, now I can do whatever I want without my uncle getting angry at me. I don't need to listen to you anymore, right?
He also said that. I couldn't say anything anymore. I don't really understand, but was this my husband's true nature all along? Was my husband pretending to be good because he was scared of his uncle? After this, maybe because I was just dumbfounded, my husband showed no sign of going to buy beer.
Damn, this old wife of mine is useless. Hurry up and move, will ya? But whatever, I'm heading out to see today's game.
And with that, he promptly left the house. So there I was, alone, and I started thinking deeply. While it's true that my husband and I were brought together by his uncle as a matchmaker, his uncle never interfered in our married life. Of course, I never bothered to report anything either. But well, every time we met at family gatherings, my uncle-in-law would say to me,
Has my nephew caused you any trouble? If something happens, be sure to come to me right away.
And to my husband, he would say,
Don't do anything that would make your wife cry, okay? I'm always watching, you know?
He used to say those things to us. I didn't think much of it at the time, considering considering it as mere social etiquette or polite remarks. I didn't think those words held such deep meaning. But after my uncle-in-law passed away, seeing my husband drastically change, I started to wonder if he actually believed those words. And I began to question if my husband was really the troublesome person my uncle-in-law was worried about. So I immediately contacted my uncle-in-law's wife and asked about their relationship. That's when I learned about a past that had been kept secret until then. I see. The truth became clear. Actually, my husband had past gambling debts. He borrowed money from my uncle-in-law because of that. My husband's parents couldn't help financially, so he relied on my uncle-in-law. The debt was paid off several years ago, but my husband still felt indebted to his uncle. Also, my husband, who had a troubled past, was helped a lot by my uncle-in-law's guidance. My uncle-in-law was a former principal and was scary in his work days. I think my husband was afraid of my uncle-in-law. I understand. So my uncle-in-law kept my husband in line, controlling his bad habits. He must have been very scary. But now that he's gone... Yes, my husband changed after his uncle passed away. He stopped pretending to be a good husband. That's why he stopped doing housework. I realized he wasn't being kind to me anymore. I started worrying if his gambling had returned, and I became anxious. So I decided to investigate a bit. And it turned out my husband had messed up. His gambling had fully come back. He had even been cheating. My husband had completely lost control, huh? What do you call this behavior? Students might call it delinquency in high school, but my husband is over 50. Is this a midlife crisis? No, maybe not. Perhaps he's becoming a middle-aged troublemaker. What my husband is doing is serious. I hate cheating and embezzlement too. I'm worried if he borrowed money again. Is our money safe? Sorry. I keep thinking about it involuntarily. But I already know how wrong his actions were. I got worried about debts, so I checked our savings and everything else. In the end, our savings are safe, but it's just a matter of time. That's what I thought. Because my husband rarely came home and seemed to be involved in gambling and cheating, I could definitely see a future where he would get into debt again, and we'd have to struggle with household finances. So I decided to start preparing for separation and divorce to secure my retirement. He's avoiding me so obviously. I thought maybe he wanted a divorce too. But even though I was certain about divorcing him, I still have feelings for him. Our 23 years of marriage weren't all bad, and it's true he stayed with me until now. But my husband has managed to hurt my once peaceful heart. Just when I was steadily preparing for divorce and thinking of talking to my husband about it, suddenly my husband said he wanted to discuss something with me and started speaking arrogantly. By the way, this day was August 30th. It was soon the start of a new school year.
Hey, you're retiring this year, right? Well done. Did you get your retirement payout?
What? You're suddenly talking about retirement money? Are you trying to ask me for a loan or something?
Asking you for a loan? No way. We're married, aren't we? Your retirement payout is partly mine too.
What are you saying? Did you rack up more debt with gambling again?
You knew about it? Damn, Uncle. I told you to keep it between us. Oh well. My uncle is gone now anyway. There's no one left in this world for me to hold back with. So I can divorce you without hesitation. I can be free.
Free? You reluctantly were married to me? Did you want to divorce me as soon as possible?
That's right, because the uncle who took care of me suggested it. I had no choice but to marry you. It was a marriage I didn't want. I had borrowed money from Uncle, and he always nagged me about something or other. Refusing was just too much hassle. Who else would willingly pick someone like you, Jessica? But thanks to my uncle, I felt confident marrying you. His meddling was greatly reduced. So, I appreciated that. My uncle was scary, you know. It was tough trying to be a good boy. But now I'm liberated. So Jessica, it's about time you let me be free too. Jessica, you only gained from marrying me, right? You avoided being labeled a lifelong single woman and didn't end up miserably dumped by a good catch. I think I protected your honor, right? You should be grateful to me, right? So hurry up and sign the divorce papers.
With that, my husband declared and threw a completed divorce form at me. I was surprised by this turn of events. I mean, it was like a plot twist. I had planned to give him a completed divorce form myself, so it was shocking to have one thrown at me from his side. We'd been married for 23 years, you know. I wondered if we could still communicate until the end. But I was hurt by the fact that my husband wanted to divorce me as soon as we got married. My image of us as a wife to my husband crumbled right there. However, it didn't all end here. After this, my husband continued on.
I'm serious, you know. You'll end up with a late life divorce, you know. If things continue like this, your lonely old age is pretty much set in stone.
He continued to taunt me like that. And then he started making unbelievable demands.
It's tough going through a divorce, huh? Alright, do you want to continue our married life? But for that, you'll need to listen to me from now on. First of all, you're basically my housekeeper. You'll do all the household chores for me. And that retirement money you've got, you'll hand it all over to me. From now on, I'll be managing all the money. I'll give you a little allowance for living expenses. Can you manage with that? It's not bad, right? If you do this, I won't divorce you.
Can you believe it? I wondered how much he was mocking me. He really was talking down to me. He probably never imagined being dumped by me. Being divorced is miserable and sad to live alone in old age. He seems to believe it, but not everyone does. Yeah, maybe my husband figured since we don't have children and I've already lost both parents, if he divorces me, I'd be all alone. So maybe he thought I wouldn't want to be alone. Plus, in the beginning, when he started neglecting his job, I was worried and took care of him. Maybe he thought I still have feelings for him. It's funny how people's feelings can change so easily. And while it's true that being alone is indeed lonely, that doesn't mean I'll choose just any path. My husband has a big misunderstanding. Because of it, he constantly looks down on me. That's what I think. So I calmly, without resorting to clinging to my husband in tears or anything like that, no way. I can't accept your unreasonable demands. I'm not your housekeeper, and I won't hand over my retirement money to you. It's no joke if it all disappears into gambling. Having said that, then my husband turned red-faced and said,
What did you say, you worthless woman? I'm allowing you to stay by my side as my housekeeper, even though you have no value. Even though you're just a useless maid, I'll let you stay as my wife. Don't you feel grateful? If you keep saying such disobedient things, I'll divorce you. Is that okay? Go ahead and sign the divorce papers over there.
He said that assertively, still feeling confident. I wonder if he thought I'd be desperate by now. But here, all the emotions I have for my husband crumbled and exploded. Love, respect, everything just vanished. All that remained was this feeling towards that bastard. So I calmly signed and stamped those divorce papers. And then I tapped away on my phone. Hello? Sorry. I know we were planning to move tomorrow, but could you help me out starting now? Can you? Thank you. I can be ready in 5 minutes. Alright, thank you. And with that, I quickly disappeared from in front of my husband after a conversation with someone on the phone. I immediately started moving my belongings out and relocated. I'm really glad I had everything packed and ready in advance. It was fortunate I had already prepared for a move. I must have surprised my husband this time. I wonder what expression he had on his face. Exactly. I had already decided on a new place to live because the decision to divorce was already made. Actually, my coworkers were supposed to help with the move tomorrow, but they moved up the schedule to accommodate me. Everyone is busy, so I really appreciate their help. You know, coworkers who have been with me through thick and thin are really invaluable. And my husband, his face was like he just got hit with a pie or something.
Huh? What's going on here?
He said, looking totally surprised. I couldn't resist snapping a photo. It was such a perfect caught-off-guard moment. Like, he was totally shocked. But hey, gotta give it to him. He's still trying to hold his ground. Right after I finished moving, that's when I heard from him.
Fine. Let's get divorced. But let's split the assets fair and square. Your money is marital property, so give me half. That's the law.
He said that with a rough tone. But even here I stayed calm and asked, "What are you talking about? Retirement money? When did I ever say I was retiring? Due to recent changes, the retirement age for teachers has been extended, so I'm still working. You're targeting my retirement funds at this timing. But too bad. You could have waited a few more years. And by the way, at this point, the only shared property we have is that house. Your salary was low, so there's almost no savings. So let's make sure to divide the property of that house properly. I'll have my lawyer handle that properly." And I said that. Then my husband,
Well, what do you mean, no retirement money? Then how am I supposed to repay my debt?
he muttered something, revealing his true feelings. Towards the end, he seemed a bit teary-eyed. But those tears didn't move me at all. Then to my husband, "I'll not only demand a fair share of our assets, but also claim compensation for your infidelity," I declared firmly. As for my husband,
Infidelity? That's a mistake. It's impossible. You're just trying to make some ridiculous accusation and take money from me.
he said something like that, but... What? There are also photos of your affair. You know I'm the type who doesn't back down easily. I have solid evidence to claim damages for your affair. Well then, I'll leave everything to my lawyer. And with that, I hung up the phone, and I blocked him too. I was supposed to start working at a new school starting in September. I was busy preparing for the move at my new workplace. Was my husband aiming for my retirement money? So he was ready to divorce. His last straw was pretty weak, but I'm really glad my retirement money wasn't taken. I love being a teacher. I decided to give it my all until the end. Can I see this as God rewarding my hard work in my job by protecting my retirement money? Afterward, I got divorced and received my fair share of assets and compensation. Of course, I also demanded compensation from the woman my husband cheated with, so it seems he ended up breaking up with her because of that. I wonder if my husband was counting on my retirement money, as he seemed to have quite a substantial amount of debt. Additionally, the compensation he owes me seems to be adding to his debt hell right now. After being laid off once and moving to a new job, his salary was low. How will he repay his debts and live alone from now on? There's no one tough yet kind enough to help my husband anymore. Honestly, my husband's parents don't seem reliable either. Well, I hope he manages somehow. I'm relieved things ended for me without any loss. But why did his uncle introduce Bill to me? I also wondered about that, even though I think my husband is a total loser. Didn't you think I was pushed into an unbelievable situation? To be honest, my husband had old debts and a bit of a shady past. I thought I should have been told about this matter. When I first met my husband, perhaps it was because he impressed his uncle so much that he seemed like a truly respectable young man. So I think both his uncle and I were deceived by him. And the principal, well, actually his uncle, he appreciated my work performance. I wonder if he wanted to entrust his handsome but somewhat worrisome nephew to me as a person. It's unfortunate that I couldn't shape my husband as entrusted to me, but I'll work hard in my current job to teach various things to the promising children. I intend to teach them from now on. This is already my calling. I think it's my mission, so I can continue to live positively from now on. Everyone, thank you for listening to my story. I think I'll come back to visit. See you soon! Jessica, who trusted her husband as an ally for 23 years, decided to go her own way at 60 after being betrayed. Despite this betrayal, Jessica's future looks remarkably bright, while her husband, who betrayed her, faces a path filled with regret. I truly believe it's a blessing that the husband's dark and cruel plan didn't unfold as he intended. When couples who have shared a path together part ways, they face either a bright future or a challenging road ahead. Ultimately, what determines this is the path each of them has already walked. In the end, everyone walks alone.